Welcome to DTV. I'm joined by Dave Misson, who's going to be previewing the pre-season. The Demons, of course, got underway yesterday, and we'll be chatting to him and finding out how it all went. Dave, good to chat to you again. The boys went back to pre-season yesterday, first time. What was that like?
That was great. It was a beautiful day. We had the first 4-year players back, and look, did a reasonably relaxed session. Although, the running was pretty solid, but it was just good to see them out there. I think they were pretty excited to come back. Obviously, a lot of new faces, and just good to get started again.
The session involved 12 300s, a pretty intense start.
Yeah, look, we put them in sort of relay teams essentially. So 12 300 sounds like a lot, but it was broken up a little bit. But yeah, it was pretty solid. Just gave us a good opportunity to see where different guys are at on day one. And generally we were pretty pleased.
Jack Grimes was one of the ones to stand out early?
Yeah, look, he didn't even have to be there. He's an older player who doesn't need to be back for another couple of weeks. I think it was a great example of someone who essentially has spent a lot of his off-season overseas, but has come back in based on what we saw yesterday. Amazing Nick. So he's a real professional.
Great to see Mitch Clark out on the track as well, and also young Jesse Hogan starting his pre-season campaign.
Yeah, look, Mitch, I think in his own words, he hasn't been in such good shape at the beginning of November in his whole career, and we're really pleased that he's obviously over his foot issues. Now it's about sort of getting conditioning in without overdoing it in this period. But look, essentially Mitch is in full training now. He's no longer in rehab, and I think he's really excited about sort of being back with a group and getting into some work. It'd be a matter of us almost holding him back more than anything. Yep.
Dom Tyson, one of the new recruits for the club, he's just nicked his hammy.
Yeah, look, he was doing a bit of running himself a couple of weekends ago, and probably being a little bit overzealous coming into a new club, and unfortunately had a bit of a nick in the hammy. But it's nothing too serious. He's going to get a fair bit of running in before Christmas, and because we don't really know him and haven't seen him, we're going to be reasonably cautious and just be conscious of getting some work into him pre-Christmas so he can join into the group after Christmas. And Jesse Hogan, obviously Jesse had that knee hyperextension injury at the end of the season, which we've been very conservative with and sent him away to Perth. It was really an off-legs program. He's only done a couple of weeks of running, but Jesse's a great athlete and a pretty dedicated kid, so it's not going to take him long before he's back doing some footy.
Overall, how do you think the boys went in the off-season? They sort of had a fair bit they had to do still, but how did it all go? Yeah,
look, it's interesting talking to a lot of them. Last year we really put the heat on them to come back, in the best nick they've ever been in, and to almost run PBs on day one. I suppose from that, they would say that mentally they didn't feel they had as good a break as possibly they could have. But in saying that, they're professional athletes, and I think the approach we've taken this off-season is to say, look, you guys have your fun and have your break, in the early period of the off-season, but realise that, you can't do nothing for 8 weeks. So I think, look, most of them, and a lot of them have been coming in anyway off their own back. The last 3 or 4 weeks, they put in some hard yards, and as I said, the majority of the guys we saw yesterday have come back in pretty good nick. And then, we get the older guys back on the 18th of November. So, based on what we've seen the last couple of weeks, a lot of them are coming in, doing some running and some weights in the gym. And, we expect the same with those guys.
Great for yourself to be reunited with Paul Roos. Of course, you had some great success with the Swans together in 2005. What's it been like having Roosy back around?
It's been great. Yeah, it's been great. He's just a great person, first and foremost. Just honest in everything he does and he says, and I think it's going to, it's provided a real breath of fresh air for the place and some hope more than anything. And as well as Roosy, it's the people he's brought on board, and a lot of the people that I either worked with or actually trained at the Swans in Frosty McPherson and Benny Matthews' case. So, again, they're just really great people. Having Brad Miller back at the club, even though though I haven't been involved, he just seems like an A1 person. So, look, I think the players see it as a real breath of fresh air and an opportunity to leave the past behind and to really just get on with the job and start, building, I suppose, a new Melbourne footy club. And there's no better person than Roosy to be guiding the ship.
A bit of a snapshot, of course. 2005 was probably the ultimate for you in your footy career, I guess, and for Roosy. Just a bit of a snapshot of that year when you sort of managed to keep the list together and get to the ultimate glory.
Yeah, look, it's interesting, and we've had a bit of a chat about it. But I think we had one player who missed 2 games in the back half of the year, and we essentially had the same team for that whole period, and then finals. I'm not sure whether you're able to do that in AFL these days. I think it's very rare. I think Geelong have shown the last few years that not many players play every game. And whereas it used to be a pretty strong statistic to final success, the number of players who have played every game, these days, the intensity and how combative the game is, you're probably looking at players playing 21, 22 games at the most out of 25 if they're going through a whole final series. But it's interesting, but the game isn't getting any easier. But look, we need to improve our injury rate. There's no doubt about that. We're really excited. We've got a couple of new doctors on board. We've got a couple of people who are going to help us with our load management, and we feel with the group that are coming in now, from a player point of view, that they're from the resources that's available to them to help them with their preparation is sort of first class. So we're expecting really good things.
Well, Dave, great chatting to you about the start of the pre-season, and best wishes for it, and look forward to seeing it all unfold.
No worries. Thanks, mate.